The idea of tonight is I'm working up to a heavy double, triple, and just test it out. Last time I got 380, last time I did something very heavy, I did 380 for 5, which was a few weeks ago now. So on my little strength block, I just want to see where things are. I have a number in my head, but I don't want to say it out loud yet. Okay. So I'm just warming up in triples at the moment, conserving as much energy as I can. Moving at a relatively fast pace up until 4 or 5 plates, and then after like 220 I'll slow down a little. Any chalk or anything at the moment, giving myself as many disadvantages as possible to start with, and then when I start piling on weight, I'll add a little bit of chalk for a couple of sets, and then I'll start using my figure of 8 lifting straps after that. But at the moment I'm on a smooth axle with no chalk, so it's quite challenging to grip. Definitely as much as that wants to do, because that was just slipping out my hand, and you can probably see it's pretty warm over here at the moment, and I'm already working up a sweat. So I'm going to go 5 plates, use some figure of 8s. How long this has been running, but you can see I'm moving at a reasonably fast pace. Not a killer pace, but fast enough. Still taking enough time to talk to you lovely people. Alright, so this will be my last, what I'd say, kind of warm up. Then I'm going to slow down, take things a bit more seriously. So I'll get 220 for a triple, then I'll go 260, 300, and then we'll just assess the situation from 300. And as I said, after 220, I'll slow down a little bit. Right, I'm going to catch my breath for a minute, and then so I'm just going to slow things down, give myself 2-3 minutes, and then get another set. Okay then, my goal here tonight, I'm going to say it out loud, is I want to touch 400 kilos. I really do want to touch 400 kilos tonight. I've been thinking about it for the last few weeks. Am I judging by the 380 a few weeks ago? I would have said I could have got 400 for a single. So 400, hopefully, we'll be there. Warm-ups are going well. You sometimes just have to kind of play things by ear a little bit, but warm-ups are going pretty well at the moment. So I'm gonna go 260, 300, 340, and then when I get to 340, that's when I'll probably slow things down or play it by ear. I might go 340, 380 and then see where we are then. Alternatively, I might do 340, 360, 380 and then 400. I'll just have to kind of judge by then. But the way the 5 plate's moving, I wasn't really thinking about it, to be honest with you. So I'm hoping this continues. And we will just see, basically. But we can hope for the best. I'm gonna go straight to 7. Might as well. You kind of just have to play things by ear when it comes to these kind of lifts. You know, if you're working up to a PB or a max weight or something that you haven't done for a long time, take your time doing it. This is the end of a strength block for me now. Where my goal was 400 kilos. To be fair, I think I mentioned it in other videos before. But this is like the culmination of quite a few weeks of work. So it'll be a little over 4 weeks, I think, something like that, that I've been working at this. The strength takes time. Figure of 8 straps will come off. Okay, well I've done 2 reasonably heavy sets back to back there. So again, I'm going to give myself a little bit of time to recover now. Get the 8 plates on there in a moment. What I'll do now with the 8 plates, I'm just going to do a double with it. Yeah, I think probably. Okay, So my breathing's still up, to be honest with you, after the 7 plates. Even though it moved relatively easily, it's still 300 kilos. So it does take its toll on you a little bit. So yeah, next stop 340, 2 reps for 340. If that feels okay, I'll go straight to 380 and then see what 380 is like. Maybe get that for a single and then see if I can get, well, let's just, 1 rep will be good, but ideally I want to try and get 2. 2 reps with 400 would be phenomenal. It's nowhere near my absolute max. My absolute max I've ever done is 456, but I've also pulled 420 for a few reps, which you guys hopefully have seen on my channel. It's on one of my YouTube shorts as well. But again, it's the old, what was it, Eddie Murphy, what have you done for me lately? I haven't done that for a long time. I haven't pulled 400 kilos this year. So I try my best not to be one of those guys who, oh, I used to do this, I used to do that. I've never really been into that. I do my best to maintain a reasonable level of strength, but also like integrity, because I think we can all live off sort of past victories, whatever you want to call it. When I was 21, I used to do this. When I was 30, I used to that. Well, I'm not that age anymore. I'm 47, but I still try to keep up with the young Mark, the young Red Hulk. Not that easy, not that easy at all. But you know, we can but try. Alright, 340 was cool, that was fine. I am going to go straight to 380, see how that one goes. 380, assuming everything's going according to plan, I'll do 380 for a single. And then once I do that, I'll assess the situation and do my best to see if I can get the 400. So that'll be, in terms of 20 plates, that'll be what, 9 plates and a 10 per side. Which, when you actually look at it, it's pretty daunting. 8 plates, I'm just looking at the moment, it's right underneath me. 8 plates looks pretty daunting, but when you get 9 on there, if you're not in the right headspace, it's pretty scary stuff. I don't have fancy calibrated plates. I don't have access to fancy calibrated plates. I've just got a mishmash of just battered old plates. Some of them I'm sure are more like 22 kilos. Some of them are probably 18 kilos. I have no idea. But I can tell you they feel pretty heavy at the moment. And my dozens of people who I've trained in this gym over the years can attest to that too. It doesn't always have to be fancy. I've just got a rusty old axle and a load of random iron plates, but it works. I think sometimes over the last few years with the advent of social media, TikTok, you know, YouTube and what have you, and Insta, it's really watered down lifting and the art of lifting and the beauty of lifting. And you know, science-based lifting at the moment is like the bane of my life. The amount of people the amount of people I have coming to me, like asking me about, you know, have I tried this, have I tried that, like, you know, some one-arm cable crunch, whatever. No, I haven't. I'm sure it's great, but I have deadlifted though, and I've done a big old barbell row, and I've done some normal lat pull downs, and I've done some heavy pull-ups. Don't shy away from hard work. There are lots and lots of viral exercises that look really cool, and don't get me wrong, they'll give you a good pump, absolutely. I'm like an encyclopedia of exercises, because I'm really just passionate about lifting. I love trying out new things, but to this day, 31 years later, I am still sticking to the basics. All of my training is based around heavy pressing, heavy deadlifting and rowing, heavy squatting, and variations of them. And you know, I'm old, I've been doing it for a long time, and it still works. And I've got many clients who can attest to it. Stick to the basics, don't shy away from hard work. A hammer strength row is probably far more appealing than a pen lay row. And hammer rows are great, don't get me wrong, hammer rows are absolutely great. I do enjoy them, I do throw them in. But if you said to me, Mark, which is going to do more for you, or if you could only choose an exercise out of the two, which are you going to choose? The heavy T-bar row, or the heavy pen lay row, barbell row, or a hammer strength? And I will always take the free weight, the heavy free weight version. I will always do that. You know, will I take a cable crossover or a heavy dumbbell press? You know, cable crossover will give you a fantastic pump. But for me, it's just shying away from hard work. The stuff that's really going to put meat on your bones and make you strong is the hard stuff. So, you know, don't get me wrong, people take their shortcuts. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. I mean, once again, I don't mean to judge. I'd much rather you do something than nothing, if you know what I mean. But if you're going to do it properly, is what I'd suggest to anyone. You know, particularly as a younger lifter, because social media now is dominated by a lot of very young lifters who have taken chemical shortcuts, and you know, they're in their late teens and early 20s, and they have phenomenal physiques. Unfortunately, they've taken the chemical routes, and they're probably ultimately taking months and years off their lives, or, you know, genuinely damaging their long-term health. But because they're young, you know, they maybe want it now, which I get. But you often see a lot of these guys shying away from, you know, the stuff that really makes you grow and really makes you strong and really makes you fit. So, and because they look phenomenal and they've got cool hair, and I haven't got cool hair and I don't look phenomenal and I'm not all ripped, so I'm in okay shape for an old guy. But you know, people would look at someone like me with my 1,000 subs and a couple hundred views and say, you know, Mark, you don't know what you're talking about. But unfortunately, I've seen so many of these guys come and go in real life. And they're, you know, like burn bright and then disappear, because they either have health complications or they just lose the love of it, or when they come off their chemical assistance, they lose the passion for training, and all those phenomenal gains that they had, because they haven't earned them. They just easy come, easy go, they disappear. But you know, if you're someone that comes in and genuinely just loves training, be interested in training, you know, find what works for you. And some of the stuff I do on my channel, I'm not preaching by any means, some of the stuff I do on my channel will, you know, work well for me with my size, my leverages and all that kind of stuff. Might not work well for you. You might find pulling from the ground doesn't work for you, but maybe pulling off a block might work for you. But there's, I can honestly say I have seen a lot over the years. I've seen a lot of guys come and go over the years. You know, a lot of pseudo experts, a lot of really, you know, passionate guys, and within, you know, 5 years they're done, dusted, washed up, hurt, injured, or just lost interest, or otherwise, you know, they've had significant health complications. Guys in their 20s. I know people who have died in their 40s. Like, I literally know them, or should I say knew them, who actually died. I've personally known them, you know, guys I used to go to the gym with, and I'd seen for years and years and years, and they've passed away because, you know, they've maybe taken unwise routes and taken the shortcut, and ultimately it shortened their life. But, you know, anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox and go and get 9 plates in the bar. My difficulty at the moment is the plates are right at the end, so I'm going to have to get a band around it and secure it, otherwise the plate will fall off, which won't be cool. Hey. Oh, hold on. I've already put 400 on. What am I doing? I was going for a band. Right. This is going to be a tough one. So I'm going to get what I get. I'm going to get what I get. That's more than enough now. Very pleased with that, very, very pleased. 400 for a triple is awesome. I felt a double would have been there, but to get the triple at this stage is pretty cool. Sorry, I'm a bit spacey. I don't know what it's like when you guys have, if you've ever done like a max lift. It's your nervous system as much as anything. Physically, don't get me wrong, I'm tired, but you feel mentally drained as well with max lifts. So I'm going to leave it there. Now that'll be me done. That's more than enough. Very, very happy. It's just tough, and that whole session has taken a little over an hour to do, and that's with filming, moving cameras around and all that kind of stuff. So to work up to that, that's not bad. Not bad at all. I'm just tired now. I am tired. So yeah, that's the end of, that's the sort of peak of my strength block for deadlifts. So what I will do now, I may well have a week or so off deadlifting completely, and then I basically start again with a goal of, in my next strength block, either hitting 400 for more reps, or maybe, you know, getting a little more weight on it. I don't know. I will deal with that when I come to it. I do these things just to keep myself amused, to be honest with you. There's zero pressure on me. I don't compete. I'm just a pretty big dude in my back garden talking to his iPhone at the moment. But one thing I have changed, and I think I alluded to it in my previous deadlift video, is I'm doing much higher frequency deadlifts than I've ever done before in my whole life. It's never ever worked for me in days gone by, but it's been working a treat. Doing a relatively heavy one, and then doing quite a high volume one, but with moderate weights. So my moderate workout is anywhere between 180 to 260. So again, just depending on how I'm feeling, but very high volume, quite low reps. Reasonably low reps. They're normally in sets of 5. I'm not a huge proponent of high rep deadlifts. I've probably said this before, because as phenomenal an exercise as it is, and deadlift is my favorite exercise, because I'm just designed to deadlift. I've got these stupidly long arms and I've got very big hands. So God designed me to deadlift. But I do find high rep deadlifts can set yourself up for injury, because it's a wonderful exercise, but it's very easy to hurt yourself if you don't do it properly. When I was younger, I had so many little niggles and injuries and things from deadlifting I couldn't begin to tell you. And I went through a phase of about 2 years of more or less not deadlifting at all, because I had so many back injuries in my kind of late 20s, early 30s. And I think I said to you before, I ended up going to the GP because I'd slipped my disc a couple of times, and I was diagnosed with a permanent bulging disc, which I've still got to this day. And my doctor told me in no uncertain terms, basically I was an idiot, and by the time I was 40, I'd be no doubt having spinal fusion surgery. So you can imagine, as someone who's in your late 20s, early 30s, having someone, an alleged medical professional, telling you that. What was I guilty of? I was guilty of trying to get strong and lifting weights, you know. But here I am, the best part of 20 years later, pulling 400. So maybe the doctor was wrong, you know. Not like I'm bitter at all. But yeah, I do find the higher reps, particularly like when I was younger, I used to do touch and go reps, because I didn't know any better. When I first started training in 1994, 95, no one deadlifted Deadlifting wasn't a thing. Powerlifting wasn't a thing in those days in the United Kingdom. We heard of it. It was a very underground thing, and it was all equipped. No one deadlifted. You did what the big guys in the gym did, and the big guys did what the bodybuilders in the magazines did, and what the bodybuilders on the VHS videos did. That's what we did in the 90s. And it wasn't until Ronnie Coleman came along. I know he first won his Olympia in 98, excuse me. But I started seeing him and being aware of him properly as being this like phenomenally strong bodybuilder in about 97. So Dorian Yates, obviously being from the UK, Dorian Yates was someone that everyone in UK gyms really looked up to. But his style of kind of lower volume, heavy duty training didn't really work that well for me. And it did rely on having a training partner giving you, taking you to failure and forced reps and stuff like that, which I didn't always have access to. So I'm not saying that type of training doesn't work, but I also think taking yourself to true muscular failure is very, very difficult. A lot of people think they're training hard, but they're not. I do take people to muscular failure at times as a personal trainer who kind of knows what they're doing. But, it will be a case of they can't do the eccentric at all and they can only do the negative. That's real failure. Whereas when you're trying to do it by yourself, you're pretending to do failure. So Dorian's lower volume style of training just wasn't really a good fit for me. But Ronnie coming along, being phenomenally strong and being a much bigger proponent of like higher reps and kind of heavy weight. Admittedly, his form was a little looser than Dorian's. Dorian's form was impeccable. Ronnie's was a bit looser, but Ronnie's form was very effective for him. But Ronnie coming along and he really popularized the deadlift, and it wasn't until kind of slightly later in the 90s you started seeing deadlifting creeping into gyms. Nowadays it's relatively popular, certainly on social media it's a bit more popular because everyone is a power lifter and they do their funky little dance, their little chicken dance when they're setting up and slap on their power belt and what have you, and whatever works for you, genuinely whatever works for you. But when I first started deadlifting, I tended to do more kind of touch and go, literally, I wouldn't say rebound off the ground, but there was a bit of a bounce off the ground because that's what people were doing, so I did it. But in the process of doing that, it led to me hurting my back several times. And I was a very strong deadlifter because just my genetics, I'm genetically a strong person. I come from a very powerful family. But my form wasn't right, and I was just lifting with a rounded back. I wasn't using my legs as much as I should, even though I've got the genetic advantage of having extremely long arms. I wasn't taking advantage of that, because when you're reading a magazine or when you are watching a VHS, as a kid, and remember these were with kids' eyes, YouTube didn't exist, literally didn't exist in those days. You read magazines, you read books, and you watched VHSs, and you watched the big guys down the gym. And unless you've got someone who really knows what they're doing with the deadlift, it isn't just as simple as pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. Maybe if you guys want to drop in the comments, if you want me to do a little bit of a deadlift tutorial for you on how I set up for a deadlift, I'd be more than happy to, because I've taught so many clients over the years how to deadlift, and some of them, particularly if they've come to me as experienced guys, and within a couple of weeks their deadlift numbers climb dramatically. I've got a client who started with me quite recently, and within a couple of weeks he's added 20 kilos to his deadlift just by tweaking his form a little bit. And don't get me wrong, he's training hard and doing well, but literally within a couple of weeks he's added 20 kilos to his deadlift just by tweaking his form a little bit and giving him a few cues and things that I find have worked for me, and they've worked for quite a few people I've trained. Anyway, I digress. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to click subscribe. If you can drop a comment, it really does help. It really does help with the algorithm, kind of wakes it up. I said already on previous videos, my last couple of videos, the views have picked up a little bit, which is really nice. So thank you very much for that. All right. Anyway, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit notifications, all that good stuff. Have a good week, train hard. Speak to you soon.